I extend a warm welcome to you all. Tomorrow, the 15th of July, is Democracy and National Unity Day in Turkey. This day marks the anniversary of the failed coup attempt by the FETÖ terrorist organization that took place in Turkey on 15 July 2016. 6 years have passed since the treacherous coup attempt took place. Now, I respectfully give the floor to His Excellency Mustafa Osman Turan, Turkish Ambassador in Bangladesh.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, each and every one of you, for joining us today. Excellencies, distinguished guests, I have the great privilege today to host in our embassy compound for the first time an event of this magnitude in this conference hall. In fact, COVID has prevented us from getting together and discussing issues of significance face to face. So it's the first time we are doing this, and I would like to thank you for being with us today. FETÖ is responsible for the loss of hundreds of lives as well as other grave crimes against the Turkish people. 6 years after July 15, 2016, Turkey continues its resolute fight against FETÖ, just as it continues its fight against other terrorist organizations such as the PKK, PYD, YPG, DHKP, and Daesh. We expect the international community to stand in solidarity with Turkey in this fight against terrorism. Thank you.
Oh, I will kindly invite Mr. Professor Dr. İmtiyaz Ahmet to make his keynote speech.
Well, thank you very much, my good friend, Ambassador Mustafa Turan, for giving me the opportunity to share. It's a topic which would puzzle a lot of people because we don't have an exact answer of how to confront and how to contain terrorism and violent extremism. But I think what I will do in 10-12 minutes is use some slides to give you a sense of my understanding of what is to be done, because as I pointed out, it's really, really a complex issue. Next slide, please. Now, look at the 21 deadliest atrocities in human history, because human history is full of violent extremism. There are narratives one after another. Humans have been violent, very violent, more violent than the animals, actually. The number of people, well, this is recorded history. The number of people that got killed, the highest still the Second World War, where in 6 years you had 66 million people killed. That means annually 11 million people got killed. Please keep that number in mind.
Now we will continue with the panel discussion. I kindly invite Mr. Zilur Rahman, Professor İmtiyaz Ahmet, Professor Shabab Enam Khan, and Special Superintendent of Police, Mahfuza Liza, to take the floor.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. We are here today to observe the 6th anniversary of the heinous coup attempt of 15th July 2016 in Turkey. And we are 25 minutes late, but I'll take 1 hour as promised by the organizers. Bangladesh and Turkey have a similar political philosophy of being Muslim majority nations that maintain secular governments. The idea of a modern, democratic, and secular state is enshrined in the constitutions of both nations. It is unfortunate that the two nations also share the constant threat of acts of terrorism and violence done under the guise of religious extremism. During the coup attempt in Turkey, the worst terrorist attack in the history of the Turkish Republic, over 250 people lost their lives and more than 2,000 were injured. The coup leaders were linked to the Gulen movement, which is designated as a terrorist organization by the Republic of Turkey. Just a few weeks before this heinous act on July 1, 2016, 5 militants took hostages and opened fire on the holy artisan bakery in Gulshan. 29 people were killed, including 20 hostages, 17 foreigners, and 3 locals. 2 police officers, 5 gunmen, and 2 bakery staff. The terrorist organization, the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIL, claimed responsibility for the incident and released photographs of the shooters. Although this was one of the most horrific terrorist attacks in Bangladesh, it was not an isolated incident. Before this, the militant Islamic organization Jamaat-ul Mujahideen committed a series of bombings in Bangladesh in 2005. Another Islamic terrorist group named Harkatul Jihad al-Islami carried out the 2004 Dhaka grenade attack and the 2001 Ramna bottom bombings. Since 2013, Bangladesh has experienced increased Islamist attacks on religious minorities, secularists, and atheist writers, bloggers, and liberal-minded Muslims. Since September 2015, there have been over 30 such attacks, and the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant claimed responsibility for 21 of them. Bangladesh has cracked down on terrorism with a stern hand since then, but it is unclear what the future may hold. The panel discussion we'll have today will hopefully shed light on various dimensions on fighting terrorism and violent extremism, drawing on the experiences of our nations. We have a fascinating panel, extraordinary panel, 2 professors, 1 police officer. Joining our discussion today will be Professor Imtiaz Ahmed, Professor of International Relations at the Dhaka University, and he is the Director of Center for Genocide Studies at the university. He is at the end of the line. In the middle of the panel, Special Superintendent of Bangladesh Police, Internal Affairs, Mahfouza Liza. She has an expertise on counterterrorism and violent extremism. And to my right, Professor Shahab Inam Khan, a young professor. Dr. Shahab teaches international relations at the University of Bangla. Welcome, distinguished panelists. Let me start with Professor Imtiaz, and my thanks for your wonderful presentation. In the time since the holy artisan attack, has Bangladesh managed to root out terrorist elements in our society? You have mentioned for the last couple of years statistics, especially the last 3 years, but we have had COVID. COVID maybe influence on it. Or is there still an undoubtedly of religious extremism which might rise again given the chance of it?
Thank you. Well, keep in mind, contemporary terrorism, you can never be complacent because one incident can change things. Let me give you some examples. New Zealand one. Remember the New Zealand case? An Australian went to New Zealand, and where he shot, he went to the mosque, was supposed to be the most, safe place. Nobody thinks about going there. So he had all the rationality. And one incident changed New Zealand. And there are incidents like that. In Norway recently, you had the same kind of thing. Contemporary terrorism, because no one, and that's the point I think Gustav Jung would also say, nobody knows why that person became so, hateful to others.
Again, Professor Shahab, what is the root cause behind such extreme and violent ideologies thriving in Bangladesh?
Thank you. I was trying to explain these phenomena. We have to go deeper to the whole system, which includes many. I mean, I was just reading the proceedings of the Global Counterterrorism Forum, in which Turkey and the US sat together to really study how to address the life cycle of radicalization. I mean, the study is still continues, as Sir has mentioned. Now, look into the whole societal makeover. It has three dimensions. The first is the dimensions that we talked about in the past, and the dimension that we will be talking about in the present, and the dimension that will be coming in the future, which is more induced with technology than ever. I mean, even if you take, I was reading Harari that day, and Harari was quite clear by saying what CIA and KGB couldn't do in 6 months, you can do it in 6 hours. So that's the power of time, and that's the space between what you can do and what you cannot do, and who holds that technology in hand. So that's one way to see that. That's why Sir has referred to one issue, which is online issues of radicalization and stuff. The second is the whole transnationalization of all the ideologies. I mean, the earlier we are talking about Christchurch. If we look at the Colombo Sunday attack, Easter attack, I mean, all these attacks has its own transnational dimensions too. And that's exactly where Fethullah Gulen comes in. I mean, look at how they penetrated into the system. The first system was taking over many of their schools where they started to indoctrinate people. I mean, and that started to create some sort of alienation. I mean, and then obviously that went to a violent state, which we have, the ambassador has highlighted earlier.
Mahfouz Aliza, what is the most effective way to curb terrorism and violent extremism in a nation according to that?
Thank you so much. And probably this is the question to which all of us, in fact, the whole world is looking for an appropriate answer. What is the most effective way to curb terrorism? Actually, there is no one single solution which can address the entirety of the threats of terrorism. As the Sir has right now mentioned that there is no single root causes or even a common set of causes that are attracting people to join in these extremist groups. When I was working in counterterrorism unit in Dhaka Metropolitan Police, I have interrogated 2 terror suspects for 9.5 hours. And after 9.5 hours, I thought that I had started to believe in their ideology, and what they're saying is perfectly right, correct. One point they can't convince me that was killing people in the name of religion. When they justify this killing in the name of religion, I know it very well that no religion offers this sanction or justification to anybody.